Hello and welcome to ReSync, an Assassin's Creed podcast. Back at it again with another sequence with my boy Lucas. Lucas,
Yeah.
how you doing?
I'm doing good.
Doing well. Doing well, dog, as Drake would say. Although he might not be saying that anymore. Who knows? But yeah, 13 sequences in. We've got one more left. The final DLC sequence. I've kind of 100%ed the game, you know, like we're not finished with the game, but I cleaned up all the side stuff. My DNA bar, all the secondary memories are at 100%. Even the treasures, because I was feeling froggy.
Wow.
Because I realized there's actually not any achievements for finishing any of the other side stuff. Like, there's not an achievement for viewpoints. There's no achievement for the couriers or races or anything like that.
Huh.
It's, all just up to you. But I did it because...
Yeah.
Why not? Yeah, exactly. Just, I wanted to experience everything the game had to offer, and I did. And it was largely cool.
Yeah.
But... yeah, how are you feeling now as we're approaching this final hour?
I feel like there's like it's kind of showing you how much you've learned in this kind of last sequence here. Like, I feel like I got to use a lot of my stuff.
Yeah, it is a bit of like a recap sequence of kind of touching on a lot of the old stuff. Yeah. I mean, there really are just a ton of callbacks, you know, with having like, you know, multiple different assassinations that use different skills you acquired. And even just the whole theme of 9 assassinations have to do with the Apple of Eden. Almost like another game that we played.
9 assassinations.
The first Assassin's Creed game, mayhaps. Like, I will shit the bed if it's not. That's not what they were going for. They're like, that had to be a reference. But I don't know. But yeah, I mean, a lot of just sort of full circle moments this sequence. Just a phenomenal speech by Ezio at the end. Just some really cool stuff that we're gonna dive into real quick after we go over last week's trivia. So, this week, or I guess last week, I asked you guys, there are 2 characters featured in sequence 12 with the same name. Who are they? Well, if you said Girolamo, or Girolamo, I don't know how you pronounce it, but that's it. That's the name. There are 2 characters. Girolamo Riario, who is the old Duke of Forli that his wife had killed, and have a pretty like absurd amount of assassination missions tied to him, even though he's supposed to be dead. You know, just like side mission stuff. But then there's also the target for this sequence, Girolamo Savonarola, and so they're both named Girolamo, which is weird because, like, I'm not going to act like, you know, like, one of them is a lot more significant than the other, but, like, it is weird that they're both kind of, like, originally prominently featured here. I don't think we ever knew the Duke's name until that sequence.
They just ran out of names.
Yeah, it does kind of feel like that.
And it's like, we'll use this one again.
Yeah, but... interesting nonetheless, but congratulations to all who got that correct, and hopefully you can snag this one. I've got an interesting one this week, but we'll get into that.
I don't know what it is. Hopefully I don't spoil it.
You won't. At least I don't think you will. But
I'm going to say the answer on purpose, though.
But essentially, 9 years pass from the end of sequence 12 to sequence 13. He spends 9 years looking for this guy or traveling back to Florence. We're not really sure. It doesn't really explain a whole lot.
Yeah, he was kind of there.
Yeah, which I don't know if, like, this was just some sort of... which, honestly, maybe they had the date, like the start date in mind, but then they had the ending of, like, Rodrigo becoming Pope, so they needed to get to that point, so they just sort of... maybe that's why the dates are kind of weird in this game, because they knew they had to get here, but then why not just have the start date be closer? because at this point it's been 22 years by the end of this sequence since the start, which
goddamn,
I don't think actually lines up.
No, and he does. Is that what he says?
Because he says 22 years ago I stood in this spot, but then because we had mentioned, because 1488 was 10 years, so it started in 1478. Actually, I've been keeping track of the dates. Actually, I can go and look at this. Hold on. So it's shit. I don't think I did keep track of the first date.
Man, how do you read that?
With skill. I mean, it's my handwriting, so...
I know. I'm just giving you shit.
That's fair. But... 1476. Okay. So, Ezio's a liar, then. Or they just fucked up the date. Because Ezio laments 10 years of doing it, but it was 76 when it popped off, so it was actually 12. So then it's 9 years later. Okay, so the dates do match up, but Ezio was talking about, 10 years, but it wasn't. It was actually 12 years for some reason. Just, again, weird date management going on in this game. Like, it's not a huge deal, but just interesting, I guess. But yeah, it's technically been 21 years because the events of this sequence take place over a year while you're assassinating all those targets. And so, essentially, you're in 1497 in Florence. You've arrived, and things are interesting, to say the least. You meet Machiavelli in this brand new district, which is another cool part of this, like, DLC. Because, again, this wasn't originally in the game, but you just get a whole new area of the map.
Wait, this whole sequence wasn't in the game originally?
Yeah. Remember 12 and 13 they weren't finished?
No,
so
for some reason I don't remember that.
We talked about it multiple times.
I know. My brain.
But yeah, so, a whole new district was added.
It was kind of fun getting into the city, though. Like, just, like, walking up there and having to, like, kill everybody, basically, because there wasn't really any other way.
Right. Yeah, just a bunch of good old-fashioned assassination-style missions, this sequence. But it does remind me of this week's trivia question, which, like I said, there's a new district. But there is only one kind of secondary collectible / objective / thing that is added into this new district. Because, again, this wasn't in the original game, but they do add something to this that is collectible. What is that thing? That is your trivia question this week. I'll even give you the hint that there are 7 of them, I think. I could be wrong. It could be 6. That was off the cuff, but I think there's 7. Either 6 or 7. But yeah. So what's that new thing that gets added to good old Florence?
I don't know.
Yeah. But anywho, you meet with Machiavelli at kind of the border to this new district, and he states that Savonarola has taken control of Florence. He's using the apple to corrupt the minds of the head, the elite.
Yeah, people are burning books and shit.
Yeah, and, it's kind of utter chaos. There are people fighting in the streets. There's, like, all this, like, New World Order bullshit type stuff going on. And the thing is that this guy isn't even a Templar. Because Machiavelli's walking Ezio around, and there's a bunch of dead bodies everywhere, including some of the Spaniards' men.
Yeah.
And so, the Templars are also after this apple, but Savonarola's doing a pretty good job of maintaining the city. He doesn't really give a shit who wants the apple. It's his.
Yeah.
And so, him and Machiavelli conspire a little to sow some discord. So, essentially, Ezio goes after his lieutenants, while Paola and La Volpe, which people might remember as the Fox, is going around essentially convincing the populace, like, hey, we're starting something, we're getting a little revolution together, gathering the troops, as one would say. And so you go about, and you can, go about these people in any order you want, but there is an official order to them. And so, starting off, Ezio assassinates a mad artist burning books. And so, how'd you feel about that? I mean, this one's honestly almost ripped straight from the one sequence in Assassin's Creed 1 where, again, they're burning books, burning information, trying to make sure that people are, have, less access to education purposes, like different shit like that. And so, how did you approach this? Did you get to use the new springboards?
Yeah, I remember I used the first one, and then I don't know if I missed something to jump up, but I just like jumped and I just landed on the ground. And then I instantly got caught and he started running away and I had to like just chase him down. It took me a second.
Damn.
But I killed him.
Hell yeah.
Stabby stab.
Yeah, I just springboarded across the other side, and then I got to do like a bunch of like platforming parts to get up. Like
yeah, I saw the platform.
Right.
I just was like, I missed the like. I don't know if I don't know what I did. But I basically missed.
You need to be sprinting up onto the springboard.
Well, I know, but
right?
I didn't see a second one. That's my problem. I was like,
there wasn't a second. It was just the first one.
Oh, yeah. Well, then how the fuck did I miss? I don't know how I missed the way up there.
Yeah.
Somehow I went down instead of up.
Well, you just didn't do your boing properly. Improper boing.
Well, I made it over. I used that thing. That thing I used correctly. It's just when I got around to the wall.
So I did a lot of platforming this sequence while doing cleanup, so I don't remember the exact one, but there might have been one where you have to do like the wall eject, where you do like the climb and then, like that. So maybe that was it. I don't know for sure, but I remember doing a bunch of those like, over the last day. So, but like I said, I was doing a ton of cleanup stuff, so it's all kind of blurred together. But yeah, take out this guy who, again, was kind of coerced, but there is like a running theme in these assassinations that a lot of these people, while under the influence of the Apple of Eden, it was kind of bringing up stuff that was already there. And so, like, Ezio shows a varying amount of remorse for these targets. Like, some people he doesn't give a shit about, and others he's like, I'm sorry to have to do this.
Yeah, because you can tell that they kind of felt like they're like, oh shit, whoops.
To varying degrees. There were a couple that were just like, fuck you.
Yeah, there were a couple that were like, I stand by what I did.
Yeah. But next after then is the Captain of the Guard, in which you go to essentially like the equivalent of the police station, and bro's like, haha, you fell into my mighty trap. I'm gonna send waves against you, which how did you approach that?
Basically, I instantly started climbing and chased, and like I just like let them all come after me. Mm-hmm. Actually, no, this one pissed me off because I ran up there and I basically like got all the way up there, like climbed all the way up the building where he was like yelling at you, and I assassinated him. Mm-hmm. And then I had to kill all these guards afterwards because like that's like you have to get like, and I wasn't gonna run away because I like killing the guards,
Right.
And there's a few archers on the buildings, and they're shooting. Mm-hmm. And I got basically down to one person. And I would guess I was standing too close to the edge or something, and I got hit by this arrow, and I get stumbled. And then the guy hits me, and I fall off the building, and I fall to the ground, and I die. And I have to replay that goddamn mission.
Well, should have been better, I guess.
Yeah, but then I went up there and I killed them, and I killed all the archers, and then I killed them because I was so mad at the archers. I was like, I can't believe it. One arrow got me, and that one arrow killed me. I didn't get hit by a single arrow.
One could say you were an assassin until you took an arrow to the knee.
Yeah. It was fun though, cause like on the roof, like I was killing them all, and like they would get stabbed with the arrows because like they're they shoot, so like they would get stabbed by the arrows.
But well, I was a little confused on what to do because it said defeat the waves and then until do it. So like I beat a couple waves, then they just stopped coming, and so like I looked up at him and I was like, well, I guess I'll just go kill him now. Like I thought he was gonna come down.
I was like, because I saw the waves and I was like, can I just like, if it's gonna like desync me if I just climb up there and kill him? Because I don't want to fight all these people. That was kind of like I was lazy.
Right.
I was like, I'm not playing this guy's game. I'm just gonna go kill him.
Yeah. But yeah, that's eventually what I had to do anyway, because I was like standing there waiting for more, and like nobody came, and he just kept yapping, and I was like, well, I'm just gonna kill you now.
Well, as soon as I started climbing, he was like, "Oh, you want to fight me?" He's like, "I was born for this." Blah blah blah, and he's like trying to kill me.
See, I just pushed him off the roof. he just went splat, and it was funny too because then it just did like the whole like like as he landed, and then all of a sudden I was right there.
You're right there, just stabbing him.
But next, Ezio assassinates a nobleman that's close to Savonarola. This is a man who sees you immediately and is like, "You're a little bitch, and I hate you," and guards kill him and goes running home to daddy. And so you have to chase him down.
And it took me like less than 30 seconds to get this guy.
Okay. So this one kind of pissed me off because I couldn't tell if he was going to come down or not. And so I was trying to like look up at him, but the guards were immediately there. So they kept like hitting me. And so I was trying to make out where he was. I was trying to like be smart and get on top of him. But then I just started to have to like chase him. But then there were so many guards around that every time I tried to climb, they just throw rocks and knock me down. And so I basically just had to wait for him to get back down to the ground level. And then I immediately caught him.
See, I might have gotten lucky because like after he like yells at you and gives his like little speech and like the guards come at you, I like kind of saw like there was like a way to like climb up. And I like where you like climb up the pallets and you like swing and you can go. I saw a way and I like basically just went up there and got up onto a building, and it just happened to be the building that he was running up to when I like got it. Like he climbed up to basically where I was, and I just like tackled him.
Nice. Yeah, mine was just filled with a bunch of like I literally got knocked down like 5 times. I was like, "Can I please just, you know what? Fine. I'm just gonna wait. I will wait." And eventually he came down. The second he came down, I was on him. But yeah, that nobleman got fucked. And that was another thing too. Like, had the conversation with him, and he was like, "You're a nobleman. What the hell did he promise you?" And he was like, "More, more money,
more power.
Yeah,
wasn't enough power for me or money.
So give me more, bozo." Yeah, Ezio didn't really have too much remorse for that one.
No, he didn't care. He just killed him.
Yep. Next up, an entranced priest perched on top of the fucking Duomo, which, like, they don't have microphones. Like, bro was just, like, yelling a prayer out,
and it was
like,
pretty
up in
loud.
the building. Like, bro's just like, like, okay, more power to you, I guess, but, like, bro's just chilling up there. So you gotta climb the Duomo without getting noticed, and, you know.
Yeah, you can't get caught at all. So, like, if you do get seen, you get desynced.
Yeah. The first of a few missions like that in this sequence.
Which this one was not bad.
Yeah, this one was decent enough, you know, whatever.
I didn't lose it. I just, like, went up there. I killed, like, 2 guards, 2 or 3 guards. I don't remember how much it was, but it was not a lot.
I will say, maybe it's because I've been playing so much Shadows, but this is the first sequence that really made me be like, man, I wish you could fucking crouch. Like, the fact that you can't crouch
the fact that you can't crouch is, like...
In a stealth game.
And... Like, I realized that, like, the fast walking is, like, this equivalent to being, like, crouched. Except you can't, like... Because, like, as if you start running, they'll turn around.
Right.
But if you fast walk, they don't. So, like...
Right. Yeah, I've kind of utilized the fast walk a few times, like, to get archers on the rooftops.
Yes, yeah.
Know? But, yeah, so... Get rid of that priest. And then next is the head merchant. Which this was the most bullshit mission out of the entire fucking sequence.
See, I think another one was, but yeah.
It was dumb.
This one annoyed the shit out of me too. Because
he's on a boat and you can't get caught, but there's literally guards looking every fucking direction.
There's a billion guards on that boat.
Yeah. And you're notorious, so there's no just like getting whatever.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, no, it took way too long. It was some bullshit. If the AI maybe worked a little better, it'd be one thing, but...
There's this one archer that, like, I basically took the same path every time because I was like, I'm going to do it because I feel like this is the way to go. And this archer just saw me out of, like the smallest point of view. I swear to God, but it would be like instant. Like there was no like warm up. It would just be like there you are. And I'm like, what the fuck? How did he see me?
Yeah. Just a bunch of bullshit. A bunch of bullshit. That was a dumb mission. And so, you know what? Yeah. But that merchant, all he was doing was talking shit and with all these people around. But eventually we managed to sneak our way on there and kill the son of a bitch.
Sneak his way, kill some of his guards, and stab that fucker.
Exactly.
And I've been taking notes like during his like little like speech when he's like, you know, after the death sequence.
Right.
And I was given this, and I was like doing all my notes, and I didn't realize that the speech ended, and I started getting thwacked on by those guards on the boat.
But down with his fucking head.
Yep.
Next up was Lucas's least favorite, the Doctor.
Fuck that one.
And so he was chilling in a courtyard. I had a much easier time with it because I just went from group to group until I was behind him. And then I knew I wasn't going to be able to get close. So I just fucking whipped out my pistol and, you know, bang, bang, shot his ass.
See, that was honestly my original plan. I was like, I was going to shoot him. But as soon as I got down the steps, I had like 4 guards see me. And I couldn't like figure out how to get like into a group without being like seen.
Well, it does kind of depend on when you start to enter the courtyard because there are like 4 groups of guards just kind of circling the courtyard.
Okay.
So it was
maybe I was just bad timing. Yeah. But I ended up using the roof, and I like went to the back and I like killed. There's like 3 archers back there that I killed, and then I like dropped into like this like kind of courtyardy area behind where he was speaking. I like assassinated 2 guys. And after I assassinated those guys, for some reason he like stops preaching and he like walks back into the like area, and I stabbed him.
Yeah. So that guy's down.
Took me like 10 tries, I swear.
So that's how it was with the merchant for me.
I kept being seen by goddamn archers, and then one of the times I like didn't do a double assassination. I was so pissed about that one because there's 2 of them down there, and I went and I killed one of them, and I was like, what the fuck was that? You have 2 blades. They're both right next to me. I was so mad.
That's fair. I do that all the time in Shadows because the double assassinations don't work half the time. But
still haven't fixed them.
Yeah. But next up, Ezio assassinates the farmer that's controlling the city's food supply. Which this one was another one you can't get caught. I just went from haystack to haystack, literally, and then I shot him. Because I literally just, like, did a little pew, pew, and, like, got in a haystack, killed the guy that was right there, go over to another haystack, hide in there, killed the guy, and then I just got out, saw him line up the sights.
So I, like, walked in on one side, and I somehow got all the way to the other side without, like, getting seen and not using a haystack. And I was like, I don't know how to get to him, though, without running into a guard. So I eventually went into a haystack. And then I ran to another haystack, and I killed a guard, and it attracted, like, 40 guards that came over there. I was like, oh, shit, because there's, like, a dead body next to it. Because I didn't assassinate it in the haystack.
Okay.
And then, like, so I don't know how I got away with this, but one of the guards was, like, he's, like, with, like, 2 of them. He started searching me. And as soon as he started searching me, I stabbed him and grabbed him. And somehow the other guy didn't notice. And I was just like, good shit. Good game. Good game.
Where'd Mark go?
And yeah, but then eventually, like, he came, like, the farmer came and checked out the body that was next to the cart that I was in, and I just hopped out and stabbed him because it wouldn't let me do another body. Like, I don't know if it wouldn't let me take another body to the cart or what. But
interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wonder if it will let you do assassinations because you can hide bodies in haystacks. I found that out today because of the achievement. There's an achievement for hiding 5 bodies in haystacks, but I was like, I wonder if I can put them all in the same haystack. You can. There's no limit to how many bodies you can hide in a single haystack.
Oh, well
so watch your haystacks. Well, but I wasn't assassinating them in the haystack.
Oh, okay.
I killed them and then I carried their bodies to the haystack. So I don't know if there's a limit on assassinations from the haystack.
Okay.
But you can just keep on piling bodies in there. I had a whole fucking morgue in this one haystack. I mean, I only needed 5, but it's, you know, it's a lot of bodies to cram into a haystack. Any anybody gets that haystack, they're going to be very surprised. But, yeah, essentially, what's the next one? Assassinating the Ponte Vecchio guard, who's kind of controlling access to the bridge. And so, I'm trying to remember how this one went.
This was...
Oh wait, he was given the speech up on the perch.
Yeah,
that's another one where you didn't need to get you couldn't be seen, but or could you? No, yeah, it didn't matter.
Yeah, because I just kind of was like, because he was giving a speech, and I eventually just started killing the guards on the roof next to him.
Mm-hmm.
And then, like, he just kind of stopped giving a speech, and he was just kind of staring at me from, like, across the roof. And I was just like, yep, I'm coming for you. And I was just slowly killing all those guards. Like, I just like to think that he was, like, if he was, like, a real dude, he'd be like, man, this sucks. This guy's just killing everybody. I'm about to die.
Yeah, bro didn't even... Bro was just like, well, fuck. Because Ezio's pretty infamous at this point. So maybe he just looked and he's like... You know what? There's no fucking point. Yeah. I mean, it's over.
Like, I'm not even going to finish the speech. It's like...
It's like, we had a good run. It is what it is. But next up, and finally, Ezio assassinates a corrupt preacher, which this guy wasn't even mind controlled. He literally was just like, he's a good dude.
Sucked. Yeah.
But... This one was another pretty straightforward assassination. Just had to go kill him.
Yeah. I tried to get on the building on top, and I ended up getting caught while I was on the roof by somehow one of the guards on the floor or ground, I guess. Somehow he saw me. I don't know what the hell. I was like, I have no idea how I got caught, but then it was a scramble. They all started running.
Right.
And that priest just
books it,
dude. He was so fast right off the bat. I was like, holy shit. And I jumped down there, and then there were so many guards that I was just like, I'm just not going to focus on any of these. I was dodging them. They're setting up the barricades. I was trying to get past them, and they're pushing me back. But eventually, I caught them.
Hell yeah.
But it was so obnoxious. A billion guards.
I went through a fairly similar thing where, I went to jump to the roof, and then there was a guard that saw me a little bit, but did the kind of aggro, and so I was I went down to hang there, but then when I tried to move to go over to the left, he just climbed up in full view of this guard, so aggroed him. Everybody starts scrambling, and I get knocked down to the ground, but I'm like, all right, well, I gotta go after him anyway. So I start going. They set up the barricade when he runs past, and I'm like, God damn it. But then, bro just turns around and walks back through the barricade to me. And so I was like, okay.
Hell yeah.
And just stabbed him. So I was
that's what you get.
What the fuck are you doing? But he's yeah, I think it was because there was a platform before the barricade, so I think the AI prioritized that to go up on the roof, and so it just had him turn around to go, but he comes back through the barricade, and I'm like, all right, you're mine now. Yeah. Here you go. Stab. But yeah, those are your 9 targets, and throughout these, every few times, Paula and the fox show up right after, to kind of gather the people, walking everybody around, and essentially form a whole ass mob that gathers at Savonarola's. And so they're all screaming and shouting, and he's like, all right, I gotta use the apple now. Whips out that apple, to which you take a throwing knife.
Yeah. Right out of his hand.
Right out of his hand.
You're a badass.
And the mob takes him away, so he's dealt with. Unfortunately, one of the Spaniards' men immediately takes that shit and starts running with it. So you gotta go chase after him. Which, I mean...
that was pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
I didn't get him right away, but it took me a decent amount.
Right.
Not a long time, though.
Right. Just chase him up to the roof and then...
Yeah.
Got his ass. But...
stabby stab, baby.
You recover the Apple of Eden after 9 years.
Yeah. Jeez. You got it.
Well, technically 10 years, because again, like these assassinations take over the place of a year, so you lose it for a whole decade, and then get it back. But then you go back to the courtyards where they're planning to burn him at the stake. Like, this mob's pissed. And so they set up a whole pyre and set it on fire, and like bro's screaming and hollering.
Yeah, they're burning him at the stake.
Yeah. But Ezio intervenes. He is like, no man should die like this.
While it's on fire.
Yeah.
Jumps and like air stabs him in the throat. Like, literally. Not even like touching anything. He goes, draw!
Yep. And so gives him a little chance. And is like, he complains. He starts doing a little, you spare me. And he's like, this is me sparing you from like a horrible death.
I also think it's funny that like they still chose to like have him lay on the ground and like do the thing, even though he was like very clearly tied up to like the cut scene before, like that scene was him being stabbed tied to a pole. Like, I'm like, right? I mean, I guess so, but like you told me they couldn't have made him like tied to a pole and like done like the same thing.
Lazy coding. I guarantee they just had like an assassination template.
Yeah,
and they would just like put in the character model.
Yeah, change the skin and the dialogue.
Yep. But to each their own. I'm sure I couldn't make something like that, so whatever. Yeah. But
bad game.
God, this is dog shit franchise. But yeah, so he gives them a merciful death and gives a whole speech to everybody, basically being like,
good little hope speech.
Yeah, stop following everybody. Stop, make your own decisions. Don't follow him or the Medicis.
Yeah.
Which, that's another thing. There's, like, some references to the Medici in this sequence, but we aren't really ever strictly told what happened to them.
Yeah.
Like, did they get imprisoned? Did they get killed? Like, where's Lorenzo in all this? I thought he'd at least make an appearance. But bro's just not there. Yeah. Honest to God, wondering if like they didn't have the voice actor for the session or some shit like that, because like that's the only thing I can think of. Because like, why wasn't he in this sequence like at all? Like, even if at like the beginning or end or whatever. But whatever, I guess. And so, basically tells the crowd, be your own people. 22 years ago, I stood where you are now, and now I have a badass robe, and I'm cool, and I do what I fucking want.
Yeah, be like me. Do what you want.
Don't follow me, follow yourselves. And it's basically what, it's basically the whole thing. And that's the end of the sequence. Mario, Paula, the Fox, Macchio.
Yeah, they're all standing there giving you smiles and thumbs up. Like, yeah, that's my boy.
That's my boy right there. And so, again, it's a nice little, like, full circle moment. We haven't reached the end of the game, but this is, again, we're heading into the final battle here. We've got the Apple of Eden. We're going after the Codex pages. Things are wrapping up.
Yeah.
But yeah. And then, I mean, I figure since this is the penultimate episode, like I said, I did go through and I completed everything. So I figured I'd say a couple words on some of the side content because Lucas, I mean, this was the last chance. I mean, technically he could do some grinding before he starts sequence 14, but like, are you going to do that?
No.
Yeah. So, I'm not going to go in depth on any of the side missions, but I figured we could talk about, like, just our overall sentiments on the side stuff.
Because there's three kinds of side missions, and they're all kind of the same.
However, you missed out on Ezio having sex.
Damn.
Yeah.
I'm a little sad about that one.
Yeah, because there's a race in Forley.
You gotta catch a girl, and then bang her?
It's a horse race that a girl has you challenge these guys because they're talking mad shit. And so she's like, you should challenge them to a horse race. And Ezio's like, what will I get? And she goes, private racing lessons. And he says, where's the horse? Once you beat that horse race, which is super fucking annoying because the horse riding mechanics in this game are super bare bones. So it was a really annoying race, but I did get it on the first try. But then she definitely fucks you in the hay. And so yeah. So yeah, pretty sick mission if I do say so myself. But yeah, in terms of like the side content, you know, we went over a bunch of like the, you know, assassins' tombs and whatnot. But, you know, there were those other couple secret locations that Lucas doesn't have access to because he's a new PC player. But it was pretty, like, those were really sick. I really enjoy those types of missions. They feel the closest thing to actual, like, side missions. You know, the other stuff is, again, like, they're, like, mechanical missions that have some interesting story. Like, there was this one courier mission where there was a guy that said someone stole a letter from his wife, which was technically true, but in actuality, it was a letter to that man from his wife she was leaving the husband for him, and so he had us kill him and steal the letter because it was to him, but no, it was actually about him, about how she was gonna leave him, and he found out about it. And so you end up killing the man that his wife was gonna run away with.
That's funny as fuck, actually. Good job, Ezio.
But the only way you would know that is if you actually read the letter, because he specifically tells you to not read the letter. So, of course, I immediately read the letter when I looked at it. And, like, it was the whole thing. It's like, I'm so tired of my stupid husband. I'm going to leave him. And tomorrow, I'm even going to have him give you this stupid letter because he just thinks you're a guard and nothing of it because he's so stupid.
He's like, I'll show you stupid.
Yeah, literally just had him murdered. But yeah. So there are some cool little things that kind of like are sprinkled in there, but it's all just like, again, like separate teams. Like full props to the writers for coming up with this stuff. They did the heavy lifting on like all the side content, really. But yeah, it's enjoyable. It's definitely a step up from the last game, you know, where there was no side content outside of the fucking flags, which the feathers, much easier to figure out. None of them are really in like bullshit locations, you know, like there's only 100 of them versus the 420 in the first game.
And no glitches.
No glitches. I got it. I technically don't have the platinum just yet because there are 2 story related achievements yet to achieve, but I am right there. I'm at 99% completion.
99.
Super excited. I have Montergione at 98% complete. The only thing I have left is to get the portrait of Mr. Rodrigo Borgia.
I'm at 91%. I bought a lot of paintings, though, today.
A lot of boobs.
A lot of boobs. A lot of Venus boobs. I was reading them. I was like, why are these all of Venus? I was like, for some reason it didn't click for me. I was just like, who's this random Venus chick that just has a bunch of nudes all over the place? And I was like, oh wait, that's kind of a god name. I wonder if that's like a god.
And it is, because you know we're in the ruins of the Roman Empire, and so there's a lot of Roman influence, which honestly I never really put together. Like I always thought it was like Rome and Italy as like 2 separate places. Yeah. But you know, they really are like a lot of the bones from the, you know, Roman Empire being there, like, you know, because of, you know, Rome and, you know, all kinds of other stuff. And so I wasn't really thinking, I'm like, why did they use the Roman gods? And I was like, oh yeah, because they're
I did the same thing at first, actually.
Yeah, like why not Greek?
Why not
like,
Greek?
Yeah, because they were literally Rome. But yeah. So, a lot of interesting stuff. I completed those statuettes, which, if you don't know, for every set you complete, it opens up and gives you 2,000 florins. So, nothing much. But there is an achievement related to getting all of them, which I did. Got those weapon upgrades.
I feel like it's a little ridiculous, because I feel like that's kind of endgame stuff that you're doing. And, like, 2,000 measly florins?
Well, they're all in that area. They're in Montergione.
I guess so, but, like, 2,000 measly florins? I stand
8,000 total.
Why not a cool cape with, like, the Roman gods on it or something? Why 2,000 cool. measly fucking... Yeah, like, you know what I... Like, why... Like, come on.
I don't know.
I just think, like, I could sit idle for 20 minutes and make 4 times that.
That's fair. That's fair. chest, which for people that are trying to figure out where some of the chests are in Monteroggioni, we talked a few weeks ago about that one in the well. Well, there's the same thing.
Well.
We both stopped at the same time. But there's one for the mine as well. So one of the unlockable things you can get for Monteroggioni is renovating the mine. Well, behind the castle, there is, that one gated area, which I believe you come out of after Mario shows you the Altair's armor for the first time.
Oh, yeah.
Right? But otherwise, you don't access that. There's one to the left or right of it, depending on which way you're looking. If you're facing the gate, it's to the left of it. That is access to the mines, and it gives you a very similar setup to how the well place had a little parkour section and then some chests. Same thing here. So if you're wondering, if you're like, where are these chests at? That's where they're at. It has to do with the renovations as well as the well one. But yeah, so got all that cleared out, got all the viewpoints, got all the codex pages, missions, and
I did the codex pages too.
Yeah, well, I mean, you are required to get the codex pages for those that don't know. Going into sequence 14, I don't believe you'll be able to start it until you collect all 30. And so I had 29 of them going into this sequence, so I had only missed one, I believe, in Venice, up in that northern area, because I don't think you ever go to that north district of Venice. I think that's just kind of an extra area, because I had a lot of stuff to collect there. Versus everywhere else, it was kind of
okay.
cheap.
I was wondering. I was like, I feel like because I thought I collected all the codex pages here, and I didn't.
That northern area of Venice, I don't think you ever actually really go to, or maybe it's for a sequence that's super linear and just kind of goes. Yeah. I don't know. But yeah, there was a lot more stuff I had to collect there. I didn't have to do too much cleanup, to be honest. Like I said, I'd already done all the assassination missions. I'd done 5 out of 6 of a lot of the other side missions. And so there wasn't a whole lot of cleanup for me to do. There were treasure chests in the mountain area, though, which you take the chariot through. So that was kind of weird. I had to go back through there because there was 16 chests.
Jesus.
But I mean, again, I don't think they really, there's no achievement for it. It's just money, which there was no reason for me to get these chests because I already owned everything. But it was, the DNA thing would go red. So it made me
they
go
definitely needed one more thing to do with your money, gambling, maybe go to a strip club.
Strip club. Go to Paula's and Teresa's. And you can send.
Because I feel like at a certain point you're like, well, I bought everything. Now I'm just rich. That's how billionaires feel. What the?
I mean, I spent a bunch of money on bullets and medicine. Because I would be constantly accidentally jumping off buildings.
But a bunch of money is what? It's $400.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah, Like I said, I'm still at 150,000 florins right now. So yeah, that's the only time I was spending money, and some achievement stuff. There's an achievement for spending $5,000 on courtesans. And so I did that. There's an achievement for throwing, I think, over 300 florins on the ground. So I literally was just in a square, and I was just pew, 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 and just kept going. And there was just hordes of people being like, oh, wow, money, oh, money, oh, wow, money, oh, wow. Money, oh. It was pretty funny. And then you had to pickpocket 1,000 florins. So I was just a menace in Venice.
God damn,
the little Venice menace. Going around just pew, 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 pew.
Well, I love in this game you can just hold a button and just walk by people and you're just
Yep.
Just machine gun pickpocket.
Oh yeah, I try to find big crowds of people. That's hence why I went to Venice, because it was the biggest city, and then I could kind of go around a little bit easier. And so yeah, I would just go through and just speed ran that shit. And then there's 2 achievements that have to do with the weapon upgrades, because there's one where you have to get sand. Well, that one's actually not an upgrade. I don't think it is, anyway. I think it's something you can train in, where you throw the sand in their eyes when you're unarmed. But there's an achievement for doing it to, I believe, 4 guards at once. and so I just had to kind of like lure them all together and then just
train them.
Yeah. Then there's another one where you have to sweep the legs of 5 guards at once, which is the long weapon upgrade, which I realized you don't actually own any long weapons. You have to like kill a guard with a long weapon and then take it.
Can you disarm like a spear guy with it?
Yeah. So
if he attacks you, like can you disarm him or like?
I mean, I never tried. Okay. I would assume so, maybe. I don't know. But I just like assassinated a long arm or one of them with a long weapon, and then picked it up. And when the other guys came to aggro me, I just went around because you know that restricted area that you go to with Antonio in Venice.
Yeah.
So I went there because there were a bunch of guards around. I wore the Auditore cape, which you get for completing all the feathers, and it makes you notorious like permanently wherever you go, except for Montrejoni. So I just wore that to aggro everybody, and then I just took that pole, waited for him to line up, and basically used it like a baseball bat and just fucking swooped them all out. It was pretty fun, I'm not gonna lie.
I can see that being fun.
But yeah. Some fun little like achievement cleanups over there, but yeah, so I'm officially there. I'll have the platinum next week. Very exciting. Ubisoft, I will once again reiterate, I want my goddamn platinum for Assassin's Creed 1.
But now he gets a physical trophy.
Yes, give me my trophy for my lost trophies. Thank you very much. Because it's like 2 or 3 trophies because of it glitching multiple times that I'm missing. So, fuck you. Ubisoft, do better.
Do better.
But that is probably going to do it. Do you have any other final thoughts?
Nope. Yeah, I mean, I feel like we've covered basically everything.
Yeah. We've got one more sequence.
One more.
And then that's it. That's the end of Season 2.
Yeah.
So, we shall be back next week for the Season 2 finale.
And then we're going to Brotherhood, which is kind of exciting.
Yep, going to another of my favorite Assassin's Creed games, Brotherhood. We're going to start actually like having assassins with us.
I know, I can't wait to get call my assassin buddies to help me out when I need them and like customize them and stuff. That is my favorite part.
It's going to be pretty legit. And so, tune in next time for our Apprentice tier subscribers on Patreon. This week's Bonus Plus episode is delayed because this dolt still hasn't touched Shadows. And so he asked to delay it a week so he could play some. But next week, it's happening. It just might be me. Who knows? But it's happening regardless.
I'll be there. Don't worry.
We'll see. But yeah, next week we'll have Bonus Plus for you guys. But we appreciate you very much. Again, even if you don't have money to spare, join our Patreon because that's where we give all the latest updates about the podcast.
Yeah, we have a free tier.
Yeah, we have a free tier. Any delays or any updates as for what's going on is always posted there for you guys to see. And then you can give us some money if you'd like to see some bonus content as well, like the Bonus Plus. And yeah, that about does it. Thank you guys so much. We appreciate you guys' support. We've been blowing up recently on Apple.
Yeah.
So huge thank you. If you're listening on Apple right now, like, wow, you guys are really cool over there. It's actually like our biggest demographic right now is over on Apple. So really appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for listening to our podcast. Hopefully you enjoy. Maybe give us a rate or 2. I don't think you can comment on anything in Apple. I'm not really sure how Apple Podcasts
I have no
system
idea.
works.
I'm an Android user, unfortunately. But
no, fortunately. There's nothing unfortunate about being an Android user. I'm sorry, guys.
I was trying to be nice to her.
You know, like you guys are cool, but not that cool. All right? But thank you guys.
Yeah, thank you
seriously,
so much.
Appreciate you guys over there, and everybody else consuming our content. However you do, we try to be as accessible as possible. And if there's somewhere we're not that you want us to be, let us know, and we can, add that to the list. Whatever you guys need. But as always, nothing is true.
Everything is permitted.
See you next time.